Pay arsonists, get all the girls. I intend to burn these bridges.
Welcome to the Trashcats Trashcast. I'm Richard.
And I'm Steven. And today, we're burning some motherfucking bridges.
Hell yeah, we are.
Some say we're all connected, and that we're all in this together. Maybe they're right, but sometimes we are meant to go it alone. Be it self-destruction, self-preservation, or something in between. There are times in life when we are meant to leave parts of ourselves behind and destroy the very connections we had built to a person we used to love. It is rarely an easy choice, but sometimes a necessary one. Betrayal is execution. May the bridges you burn light your path.
You know, sometimes you gotta blow the fuck up and then act like you don't know nobody. Like our boy Riff Raff.
No, nobody. So, with all that nonsense said, how was your week, sir?
Boy, it's been a fucking hell of a week.
Sounds like it, man. What the fuck's going on with you?
So it's been a little bit longer than our usual or interim since we recorded since we usually do. We usually try to get a week or less, and
we're good though. We're good.
Yeah, but that was because of I had a back spasm last week. Well, first you guys came up to visit. That was dope. That was fun.
Fuck yeah, it was. You made some what was that? What would you call it?
Ramdan, man.
Ramdan.
Fucking chopaghetti. Chopaghetti noodles with the
beef
we didn't
tips.
have the guri noodles, whatever the gia guri or whatever the fuck that's called, but I use the Shin Black.
So good.
Fucking good ass noodles.
So we visited you. Your place was beautiful. We talked about it for way too long. Like me and Sarah after we were like, holy fuck, we need to get our shit together. We're like scrubs over here. But your place was beautiful. It was so much fun coming up. And then after we left, you had a back spasm?
Yeah. I spent the couple days after you left, I pulled the couch bed thing back out, and I was chilling up there, and I kind of got comfy on the couch because I usually don't fall asleep watching TV like that anymore.
Yeah.
So I was like playing video games, and I had some time off of work, and I thought, okay, well, I'm just going to enjoy it. Well, I had fallen asleep kind of like propped up against the back of the couch, and it was not a really comfortable way to fall asleep. And I woke up and I could kind of hardly move. And I was like made my way down to my bed, and I laid there for a minute before I realized, okay, no, I'm kind of fucked right now. Like, this is wrong. I shouldn't be like this. And then I realized, okay, it's only like 9 o'clock. So I'd only fallen asleep for a couple hours.
Sure.
And it just looked dark, and I felt like I was out of it. So, I got out of my bed, and I couldn't like get up. Like, I got out of my bed by like rolling out and like landing on the floor. and that's when I started to realize, okay, no, I'm actually fucked, because I couldn't stand up. I had to crawl up the stairs to get my phone
Shit.
like text my mom. And thank God she's a registered, like a licensed physical therapist assistant, and she like knows exactly like the shit to do in this situation. So, I got her to come up, and she hadn't, laid down yet for bed, and came and looked at me and helped me get situated a little bit. But yeah, that was I was fucked for like 4 or 5 days there.
Yeah, you've been a straight cripple.
Yeah, it's real fucked up. You don't really realize how weak you are until you can't use your back.
Dude, that is the truth. Like, one little wrong movement, sleeping weird one night, and it's like, I thought I was like powerful. And then you wake up and you're like, I am so fucking fragile.
Yeah. So I had something similar happen. It's not the exact same thing, but it's similar. When I was in Toronto, when I was in college there, and I woke up one night, it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I woke up and my head was over to one side on my shoulder, and I couldn't like move it straight. I couldn't pick my head up straight. And it hurt. Like there was like resistance against it.
Yeah.
And I was afraid I was going to break something if I tried to force it. So, I had to walk to the hospital, which was like 6 city blocks away.
All lopsided and
at
shit.
3 o'clock in the morning.
Like a broken giraffe. Just
Yeah, like I didn't know what the fuck to do. So I go down to the front desk and I'm like, my head's on my shoulder. I'm like, how do I get to the hospital? And they're like, it's 3 blocks over and 5 blocks down. It's like, all right.
jeez.
So I made it there, and then they made me sit in the waiting room for like 4 hours before they finally had somebody, I got into a room with a doctor, and they were like, oh yeah, just here's a prescription for some ibuprofen, go home.
That shit's such garbage, man.
It's like, what the fuck? No one could have told me that in the waiting area for the last 4 hours I was there.
They can't
Get the fuck out of here. And then
really
that'll be $800.
It's so fucked up.
Which the school, because I was there with the school visa, they helped out with, so that was good.
Yeah.
But yeah, so in addition to the muscle spasm and like my whole shit being fucked like that, I also I got like canker sores out of it. At least it's like, from what I can tell, what they are. Yeah. Like my tongue's like fucked in a couple places on the bottom, and it just happened at the same time. And yeah, what I'm reading is that it can spawn because of stress.
Yeah.
And that being the stress of the physical.
You had that's a traumatic back injury. Like, it's weird how like one part of your body gets so fucked up, like your stress reactions take all these different forms in other places of the body.
Yeah. And it's really wild also, like how bad off I was, less than a week ago. And to the point where like I went to the store and walked around today. Like after I got home and I realized, okay, I'm exhausted now. That took a lot of effort, and I definitely, felt it a few times, but like I was up and moving I'll be back to normal within a week.
Yeah.
Thanks to my mom and the different exercises and stuff that she gave me to like, when I can move it, like to set it right, but also the drugs. Man, some muscle relaxers and some fucking ibuprofens.
Drugs are good.
Drugs are good for you. Do drugs.
It's crazy how powerful they can be, though, with a real injury. I mean, people have lots of misconceptions about how painkillers work, but for something specific like a back injury, like a muscle relaxer can be night and day on how you recover.
Absolutely. It was from... like even, I was taking them like every 6 hours, and I didn't take one because it was started to feel like it was getting better. And I realized, okay, I wanted to know how much of this is just the pill that's making me feel like this. And, so I skipped one of my doses, and then like the next day, like my whole shit was locked up, and it's like, all right, cool. I'm still fucked. I'm just
fuck. Well, I'm glad you're on the mend and you can speak today. Holy shit. You sounded like you had food in your mouth. Like you were struggling.
And I'm definitely going to fuck up on like some my S's and my TH's. I know it's still hitting me there, but because the fucking sores on my tongue and whatever, it's...
We'll let it go this one time. This one time we'll give you a pass. Yeah, man.
There's definitely going to be some liquid audio from me taking sips.
Well, it sounds like you've had a worse off week than I have. Mine's been just kind of the same, besides from visiting you, which is, of course, awesome. Came back from Detroit. I was having my own medical shit for like 2 days, but all good. I thought I was having an alien baby. Like I was pregnant, and the alien was squirming in my stomach, and I thought I was going to pop.
Oh shit!
Remember, It wasn't that bad when I was up there, but the drive back, because it was in the rain for 3 hours, I think I was tensing up, and I thought the alien was. I thought I was going to go into delivery.
Then you find out that Sarah's a robot, and
she's the predator. I'm the alien. We've been battling ever since. But yeah, all good on this end. I haven't been nearly as productive as I'd like to be with art stuff, but overall things been chill. So I fucking hate Christmas, so I cannot wait till this shit's over. But overall, chilling. So yeah, pretty chill. Dope. So excited for this episode. I did have like a gallon of Choco chip cookie crumble frappuccino at about a gallon. So I am on fire.
Diabetes in a cup.
Dude, if I don't blink into a diabetic coma, I'm gonna just run through this.
If you just took a whole gallon of ice cream and then just blended it up, and you're like, well, of course I'm not going to eat a whole gallon of ice cream. What are you, crazy? You just blend it up and put it in a Starbucks cup. It's like, oh, hell yeah, dog. Take all my money.
I said I wasn't going to eat it. I didn't say I couldn't drink it.
Well, yeah, just ice cream soup. To show you that.
Exactly. Have you ever done salt on ice cream?
Yes.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard about that till late in the game. Holy shit.
You ever had salt on watermelon?
Oh, God, yeah.
That's a move right there.
That is a move.
Someone in Price Hill told me about that.
That's Price Hill classified intel right there.
It's classified intel.
They don't trust us with a whole lot of top secret state level, info, but they did give us that one, and we have protected it well till now.
That came in handy in culinary school. We were doing compressed watermelon because it was during when we were interning for the school. Like the school's like public open restaurant, and we were doing compressed watermelon because it was seasonal, and we did an olive oil. We did the first one was olive oil and what's the shit? It's not sumac.
Poison sumac?
Yes. No. And then we did the fuck is it called? Someone was like, "Hey, let's try it with like Mountain Dew." And it was like just super sweet. But we did Mountain Dew, and I put a little salt on there, sea salt on it, and then we compressed it, and that was fire shit.
In watermelon?
Yeah.
That actually sounds fucking delicious. That sounds
amazing. It was so good.
Trash delicacy right there.
And we took some and like froze it and made like pops out of it.
Oh, God damn it.
Hella refreshing.
That sounds awesome. You got any honorable mentions before we get into it?
Only shouts out to the muscle relaxers and pain pills. Shouts out to my mom. Seriously, I couldn't have made it out of this week without her. She came over. She like took some like my laundry down and shit. And like she started doing dishes. I'm like, Mom, you don't have to do that. And she was like, well, you don't heal faster if you don't have to be looking at this shit. It's like thanks, Mom. It's like I don't.
That stuff's the sweetest ever.
Don't deserve them. And then my dad sent up some early Christmas presents, and we sat down and had a call with him while we opened some stuff. And he invested in the podcast. He sent me a new external hard drive.
Oh shit! Yeah,
I've seen some less than kind reviews about the Western Digital ones that I currently use. So I had a Seagate one on my list, and he got that for me. So I got a new 4 terabyte Seagate hard drive.
There we go.
Back up all our backups.
Yeah, the archives are growing. Holy shit.
Yeah.
It's becoming so much data. There's so many hours of us talking about dumb shit now.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
The thing that someone could spend a full week just binge listening to just our trash.
It's so weird.
I love it.
And then we were sampled for that music festival set.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. All right. So should I do my honorable mentions?
Yeah. Do it.
Okay. So one of them, I was going to thank the Hive Mind fellas, the shady trash wave musicians. They had the track Susfest we played, and they ended up sampling the Trashcats for one of their live music sets, which was just so cool. Massive thanks to those guys. And I've told a couple of them, anytime they have music or musicians in general, artists, whoever the fuck, send us your shit. We'll check it out and try to play stuff. So much love to the Hive Mind. Second honorable mention, little piece of news. Did you see the update on the Baldwin story?
Only a little bit.
Okay. He did this big interview. He was prepped by his lawyers very thoroughly.
That makes sense though.
Really covered his ass, which is what you should do. There's no
Something
points.
that public, yeah.
Yeah, there's no points taken away for that. He really spoke. He spoke well, and he explained his side of the story, what was interesting, well, when we did our Baldwin episode, we really made sure to like say that the information would come out eventually. We didn't want to jump to any conclusions, and there's more information coming out. Included in the interview, he had said he never pulled the trigger of his gun,
Right.
which adds to it adds to the story a bit, because it was a revolver, and you can fire a revolver without pulling the trigger when the hammer hits the bullet, and supposedly that's what happened. He never intentionally pulled the trigger. So there's one other person for sure testifying to that. Still no charges have happened yet, but the story will continue to develop. And I felt like he was very genuine in his empathy to the people hurt. So it's just interesting. So that was the update on Baldwin. And then third one, we have an exclusive track by Chaotic Steel, our homie, titled RZN, Risen. We're going to play it at the end of the episode. It is from his newest album, Phantasma. This album goes hard as fuck. He's got some really cool new stuff. You can catch him on Instagram. The album is on Spotify and Tidal and one other one. Apple. We'll have links to his stuff as always. Much love. It fits our episode so perfect.
Yeah.
We just had to play it. And by the way, his name is spelled Kaotic, Chaotic Steel. Check him out. Last honorable mention. So when you were making the beef, the Ramdan with the beef tips, I saw your beautiful kitchen knives, because I know that as a chef, those are your babies, right?
Oh, yeah. So
we were talking about knives a bit, and it reminded me of my buddy, who I later realized lives in Michigan, your home state. This is my buddy, my internet buddy, Gabriel. He goes by Ragged Raven Forge on Instagram, and he does some just really cool knife creating. Just he forges all his own stuff. I get to follow his updates on Instagram, seeing what he's making. Just does really cool stuff. It's like watching Forged in Fire, but not like stupid shit. He's a very cool dude, very socially conscious. I've had some really cool, interesting conversations with him. He's got very unique and I don't know, just a very empathetic person. I like him a lot. His work's beautiful. I thought we'd share his awesome creations.
I really like these knives. There are so many of the custom knives that you see people making, especially on like social media and stuff, and they post stuff, that they look, I won't want to say they look too showy, but they look too like over designed, where I like simple. I think the less is more, especially in the shape. I feel like having something that's balanced and feels good is much more important than something that's decorative and looks good.
Yes.
Like I won't pay for the, like some of the brands that I like. I won't pay for their, the $300, $400 knives if I know that I really like, the handle shape that I like is on the, $100 one, or, it's like, I'm going to get just as long of a lifespan out of this. Because I'm going to use it more often, even if it's not as decorative. And it's not that, and I say that not meaning that his pieces aren't decorative at all, but they have a humble appearance.
Yes.
He, showcases the natural colors in the wood, and, the natural, piece, like this Damascus beautiful piece he's got. It's just absolutely gorgeous. It just, like I said, it's really subtle, but really nice. I would definitely buy one of these knives.
Yeah, I'm looking at one. It's an 8-inch chef knife with bacon micarta bolster. I'm not quite sure what the bacon micarta bolster is, but it's
I think that's just the way to describe the pattern in the wood. That red kind of bolster piece that's got the white stripe in it.
I see it now. That's great. I love the natural marbling he has on the blade. Like his stuff has like a strong aesthetic, but it's not, like you said, it's not overly done. I don't like it. They look like strong, durable knives.
Yeah,
they're all sharp as fuck. That's for sure. But he just does some really cool stuff. I just wanted to share his work.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, check him out on Instagram. We'll post the links. I think that's it.
Yeah.
We ready to get out the kerosene and
yeah, let's fucking light this motherfucker up.
Let's light it up. All right.
We've made all these connections through this podcast over the last year. Now let's throw it all away.
Exactly. So, burning bridges. An army that attacks across a river may decide to burn the bridge after crossing it. By burning the bridge, the army prevents the enemy from using it. So that's the origins of this. Cross the bridge, you burn it kind of thing.
Right. So, however, the army also destroys its own chance to go back across the river. Burning a bridge leaves the army open to attack.
The expression burning your bridges means to act in a way that destroys any chance of returning to the way things were. When you burn your bridges, there is no going back.
By burning a bridge, it means that you end a relationship in such a way that you could never go back and restart the relationship again. Or perhaps you could, but it would require you to beg forgiveness of the person whose bridge you have burned, even to try.
Now, as a quick aside, I personally find burning, like, it's never like a fun time when you torch a relationship, right?
Right.
But there is something so fucking satisfying.
Yes, it can be very therapeutic.
Yeah, just like cutting a form of cancer out of your life and saying, fuck it, this part of my life is over, I'm on to new shit, not looking back. Like, that shit can be so freeing.
Yeah.
It's definitely hard, though. So, simply, a bridge is a structure that provides passage over something, such as a river, train tracks, a highway, or a deep, wide opening into the ground. A connection from person to person, stretching over a river of time.
The word bridge can also be used to join things you can't touch, such as cultures or activities. For example, you could say music and art can be bridge for cultures. And language can be a bridge between two people.
That is one of the coolest things about art and arts in general. You can find something in common, or even not. You can just connect to people through it so easy. Like, it breaks the ice. Even if you disagree on perspectives, it's something that brings people together. It's so interesting to speak to someone, even someone you don't respect at all, like over a piece of art, is a very interesting conversation.
Right. I find the same with food. So I realize that no matter what, there might be a language barrier to cross, but I can have a job anywhere in the world because everybody eats.
Yeah.
And everybody is interested in learning more about food or, sharing ideas about, food culture and stuff like that. So, like, you can always communicate to someone through flavors and presentation and stuff like that.
Do you, like, even if it be it playfully, do you ever, like with art, there can be arguments over, like, aesthetics, like, no, that is bad technique, no, I don't like when they use this medium this way, whatever. With food, what do you say to, like, another, let's say, chef who likes, like, a flavor profile you would find disgusting on a certain dish? Like, how do you come to terms with those type of...
Usually just say that's an acquired taste kind of thing and move on.
Like, I'll let you be a bad chef. I'll keep killing it on the side.
Well, it's... I feel like, I guess there's a little bit of difference. There's, like... the difference is finding, like, maybe they way oversalt their food because their palate's wrecked. Or,
right.
They don't... Or maybe they don't have a sense for, like, what good taste is across the board. And, like, there's there's a difference between that and they have very niche flavor things. Like, I'm really not a huge fan of like blue cheese. I used to like it a lot when I was a kid. And I just kind of grew out of it. I don't really like it as much anymore.
Yeah.
But I do think like there are definitely still times where I can taste it in things and be like, oh, that's a good pairing with that. I can recognize like where that balance is.
I feel similarly. I like,
Yeah.
I can enjoy like a note of blue cheese, but it's too stanky. It's
too
stanky
stanky.
cheese, man.
But my point being that like you can, even if it's not something that you like a lot, you can still appreciate like, oh, these balance well because of this, or there's a high contrast, but it's because it makes sense in this situation. Like you come to understand it a little bit more,
Right.
like why people make certain choices. But when someone's just like bad at pairing things, or they're bad at like flavor profiles, there's no good way to tell somebody that.
That's difficult because
There's references that you can give them. Like for anybody listening, whether you're a chef or you're not, I recommend the Flavor Bible.
Okay.
It's a book you can get. I got the digital copy, so it's always in my pocket on my phone.
nice.
But it's
Right
the
with
ultimate guide to write any menu, anything that you come across and you think like, oh, I have some shit in my fridge. I have beef and, I have this and I have some potatoes, but like, I want to do something different with it. Like, what do I do? And you can look and you can see like, oh, beef, should be paired with
Milk.
like these things, or if you pair it with these things, you're going to do really well. Like it makes it easier. It makes it more simple. So if you tell someone like, oh, you get them that for Christmas or something, they're like, hey, maybe you can take a look at this.
Get your shit together and start making my beef milkshake.
Just start making my my milk steak boiled hard
Yes.
with your finest jelly beans.
Right. So speaking of work, when you burn a bridge, when you quit, like for example, quitting a job, walking out one day and not coming back, call no show, you tell your boss to fuck off. You just know you're not coming back. You kind of have like the level of fuck you give to the people when you leave.
Do you give notice, or do you no call no show? And even then, sometimes when you no call no show, I notice a lot in a lot of industry shit here that like that doesn't mean that you quit.
Right.
For some people, that means that like, oh, we'll try him again tomorrow, or maybe he has an excuse, or or they're so desperate that they need the help.
That's such a bad precedent to set.
It's super bad.
Unless the person had like a legitimate emergency, you know?
Yeah.
Oh man.
There's so many times that's happened at one job that I used to work at, where to the point where it was just like, okay, then so why should I ever get in trouble for anything that I do? Like, why there's no consequences to anything that I do because I show up and I do my job. This person doesn't even show up half the time.
Right.
They've missed 3 days in the last month, and there's a completely no call, no show, and then they keep bringing them back.
Yeah, like for them to actually like burn the bridge, they'd have to like clog all the toilets, chain the freezer closed, do some crazy shit.
Unplug the walk-in, or unplug all the freezers before you leave.
Dude, you just saying that, I can smell that biobomb in my basement that one. Oh my God. I think about that every once in a while, just how gross that was. Man, I had
But that smell was stuck in your nostrils for forever.
the whole house still reeked for like 3 weeks. It was so bad. But I remember one time I was left rehab in the morning. I'm going you get your day pass to go to work, and I'm talking to my buddy. I'm driving him to work on my way, and my phone pocket dials my boss, which is where I'm headed to work for him. And I forget what my buddy said, but it was something I was like, you know what, man, I don't even want to call. Or I said, I don't even want to go to work. This boss is such a fucking idiot. I think I'm just going to no call, no show him. And then I hear my phone, and he's like, my boss is on the other end saying, what did you just say? I'm like, well, I think I just lost that job. It's like, I'm never talking to you again. I guess you can keep my last check. Fuck it. Have you ever done any like intentional or unintentional? Like you're fucking done. Fuck you. I'm out of here.
No, I've never. I mean, the closest I ever came to that was one of my jobs in Florida. I had only went to this job because the job that I first got down there, the chef, I loved that job. The chef was really cool. I learned a lot of shit from him, but we were like limited at that point. I'd been working there for a year and a half, and there was only so much that we, could do with the menu that he could teach me. So, he was pissed off with the owner. So he was like looking for a new place, and he was like, just so you know, I was putting out resumes this morning. I was like, all right, cool. Which I've carried that with me for every job I've had, every leadership role I've had after that. If I'm in a position where I'm putting out resumes, I will tell the people underneath me, hey, just so you know, I'm putting out resumes.
That's how it should be.
I don't want to influence your decision to leave or stay or whatever, but I want you to know, I might not tell my boss that yet, but I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
So the job that I kind of fucked over a little bit, they were behind on my pay, and it wasn't the first time. I think I've talked about this one on the podcast before. They dick me around on pay, and usually I went to them and I'd say like, hey, my check bounced, and they give me cash, which whatever, as long as my money went to taxes, then I don't really give a shit. And like, I'm not going to find out later on that they fucked up on that.
Right.
But then the one time it didn't, and I went in and I said, hey, my check bounced, and they were like, oh, I don't have any money. I'll have more money after service. I can pay you. And I was like, all right, cool. Just call me afterward when you get the money. And I went downstairs and I finished prep. I got them set up for the lunch shift. And then right when it was about to start, I was like, all right, cool. Prep's done. I'm out of here. And my chef was like, what, why? And I was like, you go talk to him. The fucking GM, he doesn't have my money.
Right.
And it's like for work that I did a month ago. So I told him to call me when he has my money. I'll be back. And then they thought that I was like quitting, but when they called me and said, oh, I got your money, I showed up in my uniform. I thought you quit. Like, no. I'm going to give my 2 weeks notice today. But like, I just wanted to get paid.
Right.
Like I still worked till, my final 2 weeks there and whatever, but
man, I've walked out on
that was for me though.
Yeah, I've walked out on a good handful of jobs. I've told a couple people to go fuck themselves. I know I had this tactic of like with buying dope, like if I would get aggravated enough with my dope dealer, because they were typically pieces of shit. Not always. There's some good guys out there, but most of them are pieces of shit. And if they had fucked me over enough, I would purposely burn the bridge and like say something, like, because I was trying not to use also. So I would say something that I know was enough that they wouldn't serve me again, type of thing. Mm. And that was a way of like, well, gotta find something new. Like like whether it's job, whatever, like as long as, especially relationships, like it's so easy to keep going back to someone until like, I mean, ideally you have a healthier way of figuring it out, but sometimes you have to do something that can't be undone. So the relationship, the connection, the bridge, whatever, can never be the same. So you have to find a new path. I
figured that out way too late in the game. I was in a serious relationship with somebody from like, end of 7th grade through like junior year.
Okay.
Almost. So sophomore year. And we broke up over summer because they had like been talking to someone else and like they weren't really sure. And like I was like, well, I'll pick for you. And I broke it off, but I tried to still be friends with them because I was with them for a really long time. Yeah. And I had real feelings for him. So so when she would be hanging out with other people and her new friends and like talking about like all this other shit. Like it just hurt all the time. And I'm like, just trying to like hold on to this piece of this, person that I liked. And I realized this is fucked up. And it's like, I just can't hang out with you at all anymore. And like, I realized like, hey, that's this trying to hold on to like what this was is my own fault. Just cut that off. It's not the same anymore. It's never going to be, fuck, we're kids.
Right.
So
what kind of, because you're right on. It's what I don't like is like, I don't know. I feel like there's so many people or like things that say like never burn the bridge. Like you never know when you need that connection. You're gonna want that job perk or whatever. Like, but to never burn the bridge it might be generally good advice, but it is not a rule. Like,
no, it's super not a rule.
There's parts of your life that desperately need to be cleared from time to time. It's like forest fire shit. Like sometimes you got to do a controlled burn, right?
Yeah.
It's to take care of yourself. And sometimes you have to take a stand against something you feel that isn't okay if it's ever going to be different. And it always involves a risk. And normally that risk hurts to some extent because it's normally, there's stuff with work or other things, but most of the time, it's like relationship stuff. It's connections to people you care about, and getting rid of that fucking sucks.
Yeah.
That risk is.
It's getting you. It might put you outside of your comfort zone. It might force you out of your comfort zone. But that being said, it's going to help you grow because of that.
Right.
And it's. I feel like also the like definitely try to keep good relations with people and stuff like that. And I'm definitely not the type to be like outright like confrontationally like, hey, fuck you, fuck this whole shit, whatever. What I found, especially in professional situations, has been get to the point where they like rise above it to the point where like they might call it, like they're going to end up calling you back. They want you to come back. That means that you're doing good.
Sure.
But be solidified in that point that like, even if you wanted to help them, you just can't. You're too busy. You got your own shit going on.
Right.
And like having that in the back of my mind has always been like, has fueled my pride a little bit, I guess, of like knowing that when someone calls me back and says like, oh, we need help with this, or do you know anyone that's looking for work or something, I can be like, oh, I'll ask around or something, or I'll see what I can do, and then, fuck them. But
yeah, I'm almost kind of, I don't know if opposite's the right word, but I'm kind of like with work stuff, I'm very okay with being hostile. I'm very okay with saying fuck you about work. Like part of it is probably I'm on my first professional job ever. So it's like, it was real easy to say, you know what, go fuck yourself. Like I'm not showing up. Yeah. You don't pay me dick, go fuck yourself. And sometimes that would get you the respect you deserved anyway.
Right,
and then
exactly.
Sometimes they'd offer to put you back on for decent pay. They're
like, oh, this person actually has respect for themselves.
Right. Oh,
this person's willing to stand up for themselves. Okay, right. Well, maybe they're worth more than we thought.
That is a strange feeling.
Yeah, that's some toxic fucking work environment shit. That's some bullshit.
Yeah, but with like personal stuff, relationship stuff, I feel like I'm pretty good at not being like burning the bridge in anger. Like I don't want to stay angry and not forgive people. But my thing has always been like, once someone breaks my loyalty, I never will speak to them again. Like maybe I'll do like the, high passing comment, but for the most, even that is kind of like pulling teeth to get from me. Once I'm fucked over, like a close friendship, long-term romantic relationship, anything.
Yeah.
Fucking like I can't speak to you again.
Exactly. You know that the trust, it can't go that way anymore.
Yeah. Betrayal is execution. Yeah. Once it happens once, it's just, it can't go back.
That's where, especially in the restaurant industry, that no call, no show thing, like that's automatically you're fired. That's it. Like, unless you call, unless you were in the hospital or you've fucking died. If you don't call us and say like, hey, something, whatever, fucking, even if it's, for me, even if it's like a minor thing, it's not like an emergency, but like, oh, my sitter called out and like, I have to be home with the kids or something like that. Like whatever, like it's not a super emergency, but you gotta handle your own life. But like, you call me and tell me, like that's whatever. But like to just not fucking show up, don't give me a call, don't give me that respect of, like, hey, they're going to be wondering where I am. I should let them know that I'm not blowing this job off. If you don't, reach out to me in some way, that tells me, okay, you might as well just look me in the face and say, fuck you. I'd rather you look me in the face and say, fuck you. Yeah. And then I'm not worried about like, okay, well, I wonder if they got hit by a car on the way here. Like, I wonder like what the fuck happened.
Because it all comes down to communication. Like I was reflecting on this a bit, and it's like pride can be both a very good and very bad thing, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of think like my conclusion was that you should never burn the bridge over pride, but you almost always should burn it over dignity. Yeah. Like if someone doesn't give a fuck about you to even communicate with you or like be considerate of your feelings or treat you with general dignity, like that person is not good for you. They don't care about you. They should be out of your life. Fucking torch it.
Yeah.
If it's about pride, that it gets different. Like just because someone doesn't treat you the way you want to be treated doesn't always mean they're not treating you with respect or dignity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a fine line.
Yeah. I was recently talking with my current employer about the part of the dignity thing, but like when you're part of the hardest part about being a manager, when you have a smaller group of people, and like especially with my personality type, and he has the same issue where it's like you want to be friendly with people. You care. You want, this is your business. You want it to grow, and you want the people that, work for you to feel comfortable there and feel like, it's a good environment. There's always, the joke of like the ones that are like, oh, it's like, we're like a family here, and everyone else like hates the job, whatever. Right. But I've had environments like that where we really did feel that way. And I felt really good about our work environment, but it's like being friends with your employees means that when you have to lay down the law, it's a lot harder. Yeah. So when there was something that came up and he was talking about like having to like push on more, and he's like, he was worried about it a little bit because he didn't want to, hurt anyone's feelings or like make anyone feel uncomfortable. And it was like, I 100% get it. It's, but from an outside point looking in at the issue, I can tell him like, here's the thing is, it's like, if they're not willing to be respectful of, this is a decision that you're making that needs to be made for your business, then they're not your friend anyways. They're not here to be friendly with you. And that's a good way to tell you that it's a one-way street on that. Right. So, and like, you can't ask them to be, your friend. Like, that's not how that works. But if you feel like, that's the environment that we have, and you don't want to put that into, you don't want to put that in jeopardy because of the business. Like, no, your business comes first. They're here for a paycheck. They're here for a paycheck first, to be friends afterward. If they were here to be friends, you wouldn't be paying them.
Right.
Or you wouldn't have to pay them. They would, whatever. So when you come in and say like, hey, we need to start looking at this, making changes on this. And, if they enjoy the job and they enjoy working there with you, and then they're going to say, okay, cool. Yeah, cool. Let's do it. But I think it goes that way too, of like trying not to, when you're trying not to burn a bridge, and then you realize, okay, well, maybe this just needs to be done.
Yeah, when it's too toxic, it's got to go.
Yeah.
One of the things you mentioned is something I've been struggling with more lately, probably than ever before in my life, but it's something that's been ongoing for a good while now, especially with sobriety, but is going through the phases, or like, it's just really fucking hard to care, and not like, oh, it's so hard to care. It's more like, if I care, shit is way harder.
Yep.
Right? Like, it's so much, it is so much easier to just be like depressed and miserable and not give a fuck. Like that it's so terrible. And most of the time it's
worse for your health that way, but it's easier on your mind a little bit.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I'm with you. But like, trying to care is really hard, and it comes in waves for, like, you know, a lot of depressive, introvert, whatever people, and like, I don't know, it's just especially hard with relationship stuff, like, to, I don't know, like, care too much, or to, like, I don't know, to place the appropriate amount of care on how you handle, like, difficulty in a relationship between someone.
I feel like, especially for me in career wise, I've had to just come to terms with the fact that I'm always going to be management. I'm not going to be happy unless I'm in charge of something, because whenever I get put into a position, I don't mind not being in charge, but when I start seeing, you know, like, for a short period of time, and then I start seeing issues around me that I know I can fix, and it's like, if I'm not able to do that and pick up and do that, then I'm not being true to myself. I'm not comfortable anymore in that workplace. So, it's just like a matter of, like, feeling ownership when I go in somewhere, and it just means more work for me all the time, that I can't just be happy with you know, come in, clock in, do the job, get out.
I know you well enough. I think someone who doesn't know you well enough might think that's out of, like, you want to control people. I know. You just, I think it might be fair to say sometimes you care too much, and only because it's like, a lot of other people, it sucks. Like, when you do care, a lot of times other people won't care as much as you. And that's why you're always going to be in a management position, is because you're the one who typically cares the most.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So, and that's where it's like, if I know that things can be better around me, especially if, like, this is my job too, like, I have to come in here and clock in, there's no reason why it shouldn't be this way. So let's do what we need to do to get there. And, like, the last time I had a job, I started with the idea that it was just going to be a part-time, like, real chill, like, not a thing. I was there for 2.5 months, before I was put in charge, because the people around me were complaining about the person that was in charge. And it was like, okay. And then they're like, I'm going to quit. And it's like, if these people quit, then that makes my life harder. So instead I was like, well, hang on a minute. Let me work something out. I'll get everybody a raise, get rid of this person, and I'll take over. And I did that, and they all still left. Fuck them. One of them stayed behind and helped me. But
good riddance to the rest of them.
Yeah.
So what about, all right, let's work stuff. What about, do you have any, like, significant, doesn't have to be like romance relationship, but like people
I do have one of those
that just had to go from your life.
Yeah.
That's something. Go ahead. So my ex-girlfriend in Florida, I met her when I first moved down there, and we dated on and off for like 4 or 5 years. Yeah.
And it was almost always, it was like, I would break up with her, and then a couple months later, we'd, like, you know, meet back up and talk, or we'd see each other somewhere, and then, like, it would be back on. And it was mostly the sex. The sex was great. And then
it sounds so bad.
It really, it does. But in hindsight, this is what it was.
Sure.
And then finally, after a while, I just realized that like she's just completely manipulative and was like really like she like would try to gaslight me and shit. And it was like, okay, this is fucked up. Like so much of my personal self-confidence issues and shit stem from that. And I couldn't do it anymore. So I finally pulled the trigger on it and broke up with her. And it was, I tried to just cut ties like that. A few months later.
Yeah. How did it go down? Because you, like you said, you don't like to be like the angry person. Are you just like, hey, I cannot talk to you anymore? Like how did
No, yeah. So I went over her house and she was like, we were usually gonna like hang out and whatever in the evening or whatever. And then I was like, hey, this isn't working anymore. Like we keep going back and forth on this, and it's just gotta, like, I have to end it. It's just not working for me anymore. And I'm sure I said a few more things than that, but I tried to keep it professional and relatable. Not even professional, yeah, as much as you can be. Like wasn't trying to like hurt her feelings. I was just trying to like
You're being
end
honest.
it. Yeah. And she, I think she didn't even respond back to me. And so I left, and then we didn't talk for a little while. Then my grandparents died, and it was a really traumatic and shitty way, really sudden. And it was about a week later where I realized, okay, she knew them, was kind of close to them, and I thought, okay, she's going to hear about it eventually because it's a small county. So sure. I think I called her and I left a voice message and I said, hey, just so you know, this happened. And we had met in between that happening, just like in a parking lot somewhere. And I had mentioned something about I got a copy of the Satanic Bible from Barnes & Noble. And I was looking into that. And she was like, oh, bad things are going to come from it. Bad things are going to come. It's like, I got it from Barnes & Noble. It's a paperback. Anyway, she, there's a barcode on the back of it. Right. Anyway, she, while I'm on the phone with her, she called me back later after I left the message, and she was like, I'm really sorry to hear that, yada, yada, yada. And then said, but I told you bad things were going to happen because of that book. I was like, whoa. Dude. It's like you can't sit here and try to blame me for what just happened.
No, holy shit.
With my grandparents. And she was like, well, I did tell you that would happen. I'm like, okay. It's no. I just hung up. I hung up on her.
Fuck yeah.
And she tried to call me again a couple more times after that, and I wouldn't answer. And then a few more months go by, and the week before Valentine's Day, and she messages me, and I was like, feeling lonely. She's, wants to talk to me. Yeah. So I messaged her back and I was like, hey, I'm down, because she had just said something about like, hey, like feel bad about how things ended. Like, I wish we could talk it out and like try to still be friends. Like, we known each other for so long now. And I was like, all right. So I was like, here's the thing. I can't be friends with you if you hold belief that I'm responsible for the death of my grandparents. I can't be friends with you if that's what you believe. Sure. She's like, okay. Like, I understand, but I did tell you that book. And I was like, all right, cool. Never mind.
Yep. Betrayal's execution. Moving on. Yeah. Oh my.
Like, no, don't even fuck talk to me.
Dude, that had to have been, especially at that time, that shit had to have hurt and been like so fucking frustrating.
It was a little bit, but I was in a whole renaissance of figuring out like, okay, this is all the manipulative shit that she's done to me and like said to me over the years that like
renaissance.
It was me like rediscovering like who I am, and like I was like working out more, and like I took care of myself. I lost 60 pounds in like a year.
Fuck yeah.
I did really good for myself, and then that happened, and it was like, sorry, that was after that happened. Or sorry, that was before that happened.
Okay.
And then I took care of myself and got my shit together. But then I didn't hear from her until the next, it's like a year or so later. I was over my new girlfriend's house, their family's house for Christmas. We were like unwrapping presents and shit. And I get a phone call from a Florida number.
Oh, no.
I'm thinking like, oh, it's just, I'm thinking like, it's never good. I'm thinking, oh, this is probably somebody from Florida I know that's, reaching out. I have tons of friends down there that would, reach out on for holidays and shit like that. So, I answered. I was like, hey, how you doing? And they were like, oh, Merry Christmas. Yada, yada. How are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm good. I feel bad though. I don't remember, who this number is. I don't have this number saved. And they're like, oh, it's your ex-girlfriend, Leah. I'm like, oh, well, I'm sorry. And they said, oh, don't be sorry. And I was like, no, not for that. Because I'm going to hang up on you now. And I did. And I looked around the room and they're all looking at me like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, it was probably so fucking satisfying.
Oh, incredibly.
Dude, those times where someone's burned you and like you can either ignore them or say your piece. I mean, saying your piece is always so good, but even the ignore, like someone who's just like clearly done you wrong and you can just say, like, walk past them without looking, like hang up the phone, whatever it is like so satisfying. And it's in those moments you like reclaim some of the respect or dignity that they were like stealing from you.
Yeah.
Like a fucking goblin, right?
Yep.
That gobbling up your self-respect and shit. Like, it's, those times are great and they're kind of rare, but those are the times it's like super clear cut, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's so fucking hard where things are more unclear or ambiguous. Like, it's really hard to know like when to make the call sometimes.
Yeah. And so she is one of two people that I typically, when I think about them, I don't think about them often, but when I do, I generally just consider that they're either dead or in jail.
Yeah.
And it's easier to think that way.
That's how most of the people I've cut out, that's how I think of them. Yeah. Like they were people I used to care a lot about, but there was a reason I had to move on. And when I think of them, those are the thoughts that are most easy to imagine the situations they're in.
Yeah. The other one is my sister.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to get into all the juicy details of that, but she's fucked.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she's, as far as I know, it's more surprising when I find out that she's not in jail or that she's not homeless or something.
What, I know we're not going to go into any more than you want to. When did you like make the decision though? Like how long ago was that?
With my sister, it was, I'm trying to think of and put it in a timeline. It was probably 5 or 6 years ago.
So like
it was after she dropped off her kids with their dad, who she told us was a junkie and he was a drug dealer and all this stuff, and said, oh, I just need a couple days. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And like, it was just a pattern of like just dropping like all the shit that we would invest in, like all the things that we would buy for them. And then she wouldn't pay rent, wouldn't ask anyone for help on, paying rent, and then would just like get evicted and then not bring any of her shit. Like she was getting evicted from one place, multiple times. We'd be like, okay, we'll help you get all their shit over to the next place. Like, oh no, we got it. And then like nothing, took none of their stuff. Like thousands of dollars worth of shit all the time went straight to the trash.
Yeah.
And then to find out that she was like using around them and stuff, and it's like, get the fuck out of here. Like, and then just lying about it. And then like after she got busted, still lying about it. And it's like, okay, you can't be trusted.
So that's a really good example of like a really like family shit. Those are like fundamental bridges sometimes. Like they're part of like who we came into this world as, right?
Yeah.
And like we get to choose if it stays that way or not. Like
Right.
it doesn't have to be that way. And a lot of times it's better when it's not. So like you made that choice a while ago. I know we've talked about random different shit. I know it was the right decision for you. Is that one that is hard not to like look back on? Like I know like sometimes it's so easy to never look back, and other times it's like that fucking sucks. Like it still always sucks, right?
A little bit it does. Mostly I'm more hurt for her kids. My niece and nephew. They're the greatest thing that she's ever done was bring them into the world.
They're so cool.
Yeah. But they, the fact that the only time that she ever resurfaces is just to like stir the pot because she wants something. She wants attention or money or something. And then never follows through with it. Like she'd come in, like the one time she tried to pick him up from school. And it's like, yo, you have no visitation rights. You lost that because you didn't show up to court to get visitation rights. And then we'll show up every now and then and like bring social workers around and they're asking the kids questions and stuff. And then trying to set up like, well, meetings and stuff with the kids and then completely fall off the face of the earth again. It's like, just to stir up the pot and like get back in their life a little bit, just a reminder that she's out there somewhere. And it's like, they don't need that stress. Like they're trying to come to grips with the fact that their mother, left them, you know, and there's no nice way of saying it other than just telling them like she's sick, she needs help. And then meanwhile, she's starting a new family with, other kids and shit.
Fuck.
Somewhere else. And it's like how do you explain this to them in a way that's like keeping their pride up, to keep them understanding that like you have so much more value than that woman could ever give you or show you.
Yeah. And they're at that age where they're like developing their personality and like finding like it's still at the early stages, but they're figuring out who they're going to be in life.
Yeah.
Like, that's why it's so fucking cool. They have such a cool uncle, you and it's such a good rest of the family.
I try, man. I try. The only one is I wish I could, hang out with him more often and see him more often. And hopefully with this job, I'll be able to do that. Even in the last year, I've been down there more often than I have.
Show up with the food truck outside of school one day.
Yeah, man. That'd be a fucking haul.
That would be fuck.
Well, that motherfucker would make it. I either know a good mechanic down there because I'm gonna need it by the time I get there.
So that all kind like it's a shitty example, but a good one of like times you have to like leave someone behind.
Yeah. That whole blood's thicker than water thing.
Bullshit.
It's bullshit. Yeah. The whole, like you said, family is like, it's a built-in set of bonds and bridges for you, but it's like, if they're not helping you, if they're only bringing you down, well, fuck them. Yeah. I mean, it's one thing if it's like someone that needs help all the time and it's like not their fault or it's partially their fault, but like they're trying or something. Yeah. Like that's different. It makes it a lot more difficult. But like if it's someone that's intentionally just fucks you over all the time, you can't be like, well, you don't have to, like them, but you do have to love them. No, fuck that. You ain't got to love that motherfucker. They come out stealing shit from you all the time and, talking shit behind your back, fucking all your shit up. No, fuck that. Fuck that person.
Definitely. And some people that's like, I think struggle with it way more than others because they get confused about this idea of loyalty to family or even just friend stuff. Like it almost feels like you're doing something wrong when you get rid of certain people because like, I don't know, loyalty is, it's something that it only is really meaningful if it's earned through mutual respect, mutual loyalty. But when it's one-sided, like to hold on to it to someone who isn't doing the same for you, it's like you can't carry it for both people.
Right.
And like, I had it was an interesting one because like I was talking to my mom. This was maybe like a month ago or whatever. But like when I was in high school, like there were times I was so out of control. My parents would call the cops on me, and like I would get a knife or something and put it to my wrist and be like, you can call them if you want, but they're not going to get here in time, type of shit. Like,
goddamn.
Just like totally out of control. Like, and like would threaten to kill my mom, like fairly often, like was just like, just totally fucked. Right. And my family is talking about something recent. I'm very close to them now. And she was like, I remember all the time Steven would say he hated me. But, you know, Steven has always been honest. He'll always tell you the truth, what's on his mind. But I know that was the one time he would ever lie to me. And I remember, and this was like at a dinner. And I was like, that's not true at all. I was like, I was telling the truth. That's where I was at the time. Like, it's like, yeah. I love you to death, but that was the truth. But like, I don't even know where the fuck I was going with this. But it was, you know, like you don't have to love the people you're put into this world. And sometimes, I don't know, I feel like sometimes you can rebuild the bridge. And then there's other times like if you take it too far, there really is no going back. Yeah.
Maybe in some situations, you know, metaphorically speaking, it makes more sense to burn the bridge and try to build a new one. In not in every case, but in a situation, especially with like your kid or something, I can see that being a thing where like, okay, lines have been crossed, this bridge has been burnt, but you still want to try to reach out. And but it's going to take, you know, you can't build a bridge just from one side across. You have to start on the other side too. It has to come from both directions.
Yeah, both people have to. One person can't force it for both.
Right.
What about I don't know. I was gonna say leaving people behind, like times where they haven't like wronged you, but like I don't know. More times you're like moving on in life. Like I know
like every job I've ever left.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah. Like jobs you've been at where you're like you're friends with these people at work. You know, like if you knew them outside of this situation, like you could see like yourself being friends with them long term. But because of the situation and the fact you're going a new direction in life, it's easier just not to say goodbye. Or even if you do, just to like, you know, not keep up with them or just to move on in life and let people go.
There's always the people. And really up until the very last job that I had, where after I left a place, there was always, you know, I always had good relationships with like my fellow coworkers and my employees and stuff. And it's like, once I leave, we just don't talk anymore. We might every now and then, like social media helps because it's like, oh, if I see that they're doing stuff like Domino with the Moonlight series, you know, like that's
doing cool shit, making shit.
Yeah, and it's like I see, okay, cool, you're doing stuff. Like I can see that, and like I don't have to like reach out to you to see that. I can just open Instagram and I can observe it.
Yeah,
and then I can reach out to you when we, you know, that way. But or even like my boss from a couple jobs ago, I wouldn't be in contact with her anymore if it wasn't, you know, if she wasn't my cousin's sister-in-law. Like, I mean, that was the reason I was at the job in the first place. But you know, like that keeps that bridge there where we still contact every now and then. Even the last job, there's like two people that I still talk to on a fairly regular basis, you know, and it's just like memes and, you know, sending shit to each other on, you know, whatever every now and then just to keep in touch. But I never have had that before where it's like, once I leave this job, you always talk about, oh, you know, we'll catch up sometime, you know, we'll go hang out or whatever. And then you just never see them again.
Right.
It's just, you know, what you do. And it's not, a slight on any of them. It's like if I saw them again somewhere out, it'd be like, oh, hey, what's up? What's cracking? But it wouldn't be like I'm not going out of my way to reach out to them, and they're not going out of their way to reach out to me either. It's not a.
Yeah, I think as long as it's mutual, it's like that's just how it's meant to be sometimes. Yeah. I think depending on I think the obligation is on the level of relationship formed, which is just, you have to make those calls with each person kind of thing.
Yeah.
But something that you liked, I liked about what you said, the observing people like from a distance, like it kind of, I don't think it's just my sobriety, but kind of at the same time, like, I've pretty much cut off like almost everyone in my life. Like very few people, very few family. There's a handful of people, most of them listen to this or like they've heard me say it. Like there's not a lot of people I fuck with. And fuck family except my, immediate family. So it's like I was on a bridge, I get to my island, I fucking burned almost all the bridges, and I'm fucking building shit on this island, right? I got me, I got Sarah, she's with me, I got my cat, and I got a couple other connections to people like you, Sam, and my family, right? Like a couple others, but it's 99% of the time it's me on my island, like building shit. Like I'm growing plants, trying to make little huts. I'm hunting deer. I'm trying to eat good and like build some shit. And like I make stuff. I share it. If somebody from their island wants to be close to me, they can observe shit I'm doing, right? Like, it's not like a mystery what I'm up to. But if I want to look at what they're doing, if they're not building shit, I don't really give a fuck about them. Like that's the level. You've been there for a long time. Mm-hmm. It's a new game to me where like unless I see that they are trying to give a fuck, they're like trying, they're making shit, like I don't have fucking time for them.
Yeah, it's not worth building that bridge. It's not worth keeping that bridge there.
Yeah, the maintenance is too expensive.
Damn right.
So
someone's got to pay for that bridge.
Exactly. And I'm the only one to pay the taxes on this island. So. But I was having this conversation with Sarah where like very recently where I was saying I don't feel like I have enough of me to give, and it feels like more people want to take than I have to offer, right? Mm. I think that's just a general thing a lot of people feel, like just being spread too thin. It's hard to balance shit. Yeah. And I was saying to her that like the few connections I do choose to maintain, it's because I feel like those people really know me, right?
Right.
Like, and in general, I feel like I try to be kind to people, like everyone, not just the close people, but like the people that know me really well, they also see like the shitty parts of me, like that I'm like, it's easy for me to be a mess, fall apart. I'm a little bit psycho, and like, I have the Machiavellian streak. Like if I want something, I'm taking it. Like I have to work to be nice in a way. And it's a lot of the people on their like little rowboats on their islands that like, they're like, hey neighbor. And they want to spend the afternoon on the beach, like just chatting about dumb shit while their island is barren as fuck. It's like, you don't fucking know me. I'll run right through you. I'll take all your shit off your island. I'll steal all those coconuts. We can't be close. Like, and it's hard to balance that and still like not be like a shitty, bitter person to people.
Yeah, no, I 100% get that because I'm very much the same way in that, like, I look back at, especially like friends from like high school and stuff that like I could, like even like David, like I talk, our boy David, I don't talk to him as much as I would like to, but I know that
he's doing shit.
Yeah, I know that he's doing shit. Like I'm doing shit. I know that if I do reach out to him, it's like we just talked. It's just, the connection's still there. There's no loss on that. There's, other friends that works for too. One of my, our buddy, Josh, he was the one that texted me out of nowhere and pointed out that we got flagged for the optical illusion thing. He pointed that out, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And he mentioned about listening to the podcast. I was like, "Fuck, dude, I haven't talked to you in a while. Like, I'm surprised that you listen to the show." And he, stuff like that, where I know that like we don't talk like ever, but I know that I can reach out, and it's like that connection's still there.
Yeah.
And I wish I had more of that, but there's also the thing where like sometimes maintaining that or rebuilding that from people I haven't talked to in such a long time. The weight of time that takes, it's not that it's not worth it to me. It's that I feel like I'm already spread pretty hard, and I want to, I want to keep certain connections, but like to rebuild on something in the past, it's like, it just takes a lot of effort, and like, or rebuild on something new entirely. It takes a lot of effort. Like even like starting a new job, like there's a lot of the stress that goes into that. Even if it's something fun or something you enjoy doing, it's like, it's a lot of just new shit. And I dated somebody, my most recent ex-girlfriend that would like had a much higher tolerance for that, of like having different social groups and having different relationships and, people in their life. And then I'm jealous of it in a way, but I didn't understand it, because it was like, how do you juggle that? Like working 40 hours a week and then also having all these commitments with all of these groups of people. And like, when do you have time for yourself? And they were much more extroverted than I am. And that's, I think, what a lot of it falls back into is, like, I wouldn't say I'm like the most introverted person, but I definitely need time to be alone and be solitary and like process shit. Even if I'm just like sitting in a room, with my phone, or sitting in a room with like just music playing or something, like whatever, I need to be consciously awake and alone for a minute.
So I'm going to throw this out, because I wager most of the people who listen to us are introverts, right?
Yeah, I'm willing to take that bet too.
That's the big bet, right? I think they say introverted people, like being alone is how you recharge.
Yeah.
But I think it's how you heal, right?
Yeah.
The world is shit. Like, to live is to suffer. Like, it's a very traumatic existence, right? And you can be strong and you can like manage the damage, right? You can go out, even though it's not what you naturally want. You go out each day, you try to come back with as little damage as possible. And you come back and you be alone, and that's how you heal. And that's just like the way to deal with the world. And I think introverted people, when they have to go out or manage those relationships, it's like, I think they're very considerate of how to like connect or be compassionate to the people around them. And then extroverted people, on the other hand, are just shitty people. They care about themselves, and that even if they know you're introverted, they just want to talk to you and see what they can get from you.
Oh, you just need to get you out there, meet some more people. And it's like, no, I really don't need that.
Fuck yourself.
I don't need that. I don't want that. I know enough people. I've got a couple friends. I got people that I talk to when I'm not at work, and that's all I need. I got a cat.
So I think part of what you were saying is like, they always say like being selfish is so like bad, and it's like such an important, necessary thing.
Yeah.
To be selfish and take care of yourself.
Absolutely.
I had the line written down from a fucking Tech Nine song. If you need an alibi, rely on me, I am. And that's one of my favorite fucking lines.
Yeah, you had misspelled alibi, so you forgot the first I in it. So, and you didn't have it spaced out, so I just put I put the spaces in there to say, if you ever need alibi,
rely on me, I am.
Rely on me.
Oh shit. Yeah, like no one else is like, I mean, if you're lucky in life, you have people that want to take care of you too, but like, I don't want to need anyone. I want to want
That's
them.
it. That's that old song, I Want You to Want Me. or where I need you to need me. I don't need you to need me. I don't want you to need me. I want you to want me. I need for you to want me in your life. That's the thing. Like that's what forms a good relationship in my opinion, is that like if you need me, then it's one-sided, because I don't need you.
Yeah.
That's dependency, and it's bad.
I did not get that for so long.
Yeah. It's I need to be wanted. I want to know if you don't want me around, that's no thank you. That's unhealthy.
But needing you around's way worse.
Yeah.
It's the worst. Like you have to have that balance with the person.
Yeah. Like no matter how long you've been together with somebody or known somebody, you are not responsible for their happiness.
Yes.
You can I wouldn't even go as far to say that you're responsible for checking when they're not, if they seem off. I think a good friendship that when you would notice that someone's off, maybe, you say something, or you know them well enough to know how to communicate with them, or you figure out a way to like push that maybe when they're feeling better. Like, hey, I noticed that you didn't feel yourself. You weren't acting yourself a little while ago. Like,
I noticed you only ate 1 apple and not 7. What's wrong?
That's when your friend is the person in the math problems. What I've done that with employees where, I've noticed that they were upset, and I knew that they had an issue of, an issue. They had a past of having like anxiety issues and stuff. And It's like, when you get this way and like you're obviously distracted to the, you're like just depressed and you're sad, like what helps you? Like, do you want me to just try to make you laugh and keep going about it? Would you rather talk about it? Like I'm just trying to be open, and,
Right.
I want you to, be comfortable.
How do I help you?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I want to be able to be there for you and help you. And they said, honestly, just try to roll past it. Like I'm probably not going to laugh at any of your jokes or anything, but like that does help me. And it's like, all right, cool.
You haven't heard my jokes.
Yeah.
I got knock-knocks for days.
I'm notoriously bad at jokes. Actually, they called me out one time because I hadn't said "that's what she said" in a long time. They're like, "Man, it's been a while. Why haven't like? Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, I'm fine. I haven't thought about it." I thought I'd spare you guys a little bit.
Right. So much is communication. It sucks, but it's so necessary.
I feel like, maybe this is my point of view too. The whole like destigmatizing a lot of, mental health issues is like, I feel like be open and talk about it. Like it's an awkward conversation, but like if you're, don't do it with people you don't know. That's rude, I think. But like if it's someone that you see more than a couple times a week, and, they're down, I think to approach it in a way like, hey, like that sucks. Like, let me know if there's anything I can do to help, or like if there's something that I'm doing that's making it worse. Like to bring it up, and maybe you don't bring it up then when they're, look like they're depressed and shitty. Maybe bring it up afterward, in a couple days, unless they seem like they're, going to hurt themselves or something, then maybe, step in before that. But that's your own, right. That's your own call.
Here's all right, debate time. Put on your hats.
All right.
Put on your debate spinner hat.
Just a fidget spinner on top of a yarmulke.
What is your... All right, you have said friend says they're going to kill themselves, right? Mm-hmm. When do you intervene? Like, because I feel like we all deserve to have that choice, right?
Yeah.
But I also, like, if I care about... if you were going to if you said, I'm killing myself tonight, and we talked for like 4 hours, right? And I'm like, dude, I'm going to convince you. I'm going to keep it from happening. We got reasons to live. We're going to be trash famous, right? We're going to build cool things. And you're like, nope, I'm good.
Nope.
I'm cool. You know, in Switzerland, they just made this new suicide machine that is, I believe it has some form of legalization, and it's a pod, and you blink to a series of cues, and it kills you painlessly. And it's, they're experimenting with it currently. Like, something like that, where it's something the person has truly decided that's what they want, right? Like, if you love the person, do you like at what point do you respect their choice, and at what point do you intervene and risk burning the bridge, really? I mean,
it's tough because I feel like there's somewhat of a moral obligation to stop somebody.
Why?
Well, and I guess maybe not a moral obligation. There's a legal obligation.
I don't think so.
Because if someone says, like, I'm about to go kill myself, and you're like, all right, cool, and then they go do it.
That's like Good Samaritan law shit. Like, there's maybe a few states that might do so, but I think for the most part, you don't have to report.
I mean, I guess as long as you're not telling them, all right, cool, go do it.
You definitely have to report with certain careers. Like, that's like state, like to be a teacher, you have to, or a priest, whatever. You have to agree to report, mandatory reporting, whatever positions. But I don't think for the most part you have to legally. And
then maybe,
why would the moral be tied to the legal?
That's I think you're right. So I think, so maybe it's not a moral obligation. Maybe
out of friendship.
I don't know. Like,
friendship.
I'm trying to think, because I definitely have addressed a situation like this before, where someone was telling me this, and it's like, I didn't know him that well, and like they're making some good points, you know, like life sucks, and
you weren't wearing your debate hat.
I wasn't wearing my debate hat.
They were winning the debate. You didn't know him that well.
And I know that I broke down at a certain point. I was like, look, man, I know. Oh, it's just hit my mic. Look, man, I know. Like, yeah, life fucking sucks, man. But like there's always another day, and there's the little things that you gotta. And I'm finding myself like arguing because I feel, with them, or trying to stop them because I felt like it was the right thing to do. That I felt like I didn't want it on my conscience.
Sure.
So I didn't want it to be my conscience.
That's the thing, is it's almost, if they actually do go through with it, them having that discussion with you first with the full intention of doing so is also kind of shitty.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Like, just fucking do it if you're going to do it. Like,
if you're coming to me and talking to me about it, that means you want me to try to stop you.
Yeah, and if you I don't know, if you take that conversation and still make the decision, it's kind of a dick move, because you fucked that, you traumatized that person that you were asking for help. I don't know. It's
the other one is like, as someone that has definitely considered it before, and not in so much of a way of like they were like I was about to do it, but like if I was going to, how would I do it? And it's like, first of all, if you're going to do it, you don't talk to it about it. Go tell anybody about it, because they're going to try to stop you.
Right.
You leave a note or something like that. Now I feel like I'm giving advice, and that's a bad thing.
Have you seen Luther?
Is that the detective show?
Yeah, Elba.
Oh,
Adrian Elbows.
Oh, yeah. I've seen those.
Old Adrian Elbows. Do you remember the episode with the chaos dice? The killers that would just roll like D20s at random to choose how and where they're going to kill people?
Yeah.
So I wake up every morning. I roll 2 chaos dice to see the outcome for the day. I don't know. I do think, like, as a person who's thought about it a lot, and still probably think about every day at some point or another, maybe every other day, 50-50. But I don't know. I think, you have to respect people's choices at a certain point. I think you try everything you can to convince someone to see things differently, not necessarily to make a choice, but just to like broaden perspectives. But I think I believe in free will even to a fault at times. Like, I don't know, sometimes like forging a bridge, burning one, like sometimes it's not always the right choice, but like you have to.
There's definitely, and I feel that too, but I definitely also, it's like, I guess I'm putting it into like a realistic situations where like anyone that's coming to me, like if it just happens to like come up in conversation that they've been thinking about it, that's one thing. If it's like they're coming to me like, hey, I just want to say goodbye or whatever, like that to me is like you're reaching out for attention. You want me to stop you.
But what if, all right, what if, let's say it was me. Mm-hmm. I don't want to make it personal, but I'm trying to give some weight to it also. Yeah. And what if the person is set on it and like you're not able to be there in person? What do? Call the cops? Like, it sucks.
No, only because my tactic at that point would be like, hey, look, if you're gonna go through with it, hold up. I'm gonna come down there.
We'll have a beer first.
Yeah, I'm gonna come down there. We're gonna talk in person first, and then you can do whatever the fuck you want.
That's my move too, dude.
De-escalate the situation for a minute, move on. But like there would definitely be like, and that's a situation where like varying degrees of like, it's not so much like how hard I'm going to try to stop you, but like how much involved I'm going to get. Like, am I going to stop what I'm doing, call off work tomorrow and drive down there right now? For you, absolutely yes. If it was, like somebody that I haven't talked to since high school, maybe not.
Yeah, that sounds cold, but dude, that is so on point though, because like any situation like that, like it's about the other person, but you have to protect yourself too.
Right.
Even like a day off work, like missing a day of work, that sucks. But you're probably not losing your job. You lose a little money, still sucks. But then it's like, all right, my time, my money, those are like the small things. But then it's the energy it costs to go through that. It's the energy that's going to come after.
Yeah, and I don't have like kids. I don't have responsibilities other here, outside of that, besides like my cat or something. But like, like I don't have like it's easier for me to pick up and go do that than it would be for other people.
Sure.
And even still,
be a lot.
Yeah, and even still, it's like I don't know if I want to do all that.
I also liked what you said. I think it's important to do the like, both with like addiction cravings or like police negotiation, like you said, the stalling for time. Like time is your perspective, your mind. Shit changes with time. Shit does heal. Shit can like the buying time part. So important. Like being personally involved, where like. You say I'll show up, that buys the time and it allows you to make the in-person change if you can, or the debating, convince them to just see things differently. And if it doesn't work, I'll let you make your choice. I think that's as fair and as good as it gets. Yeah. If they have someone, they're like a family member, somebody who's closer to them that genuinely cares about reaching out to them, can be a really good thing. But like, people make their choices, right? It's like the concert, right? The artist isn't at fault. The artist is never at fault.
To that, I did want to bring this up. I found that at least when I talk about like suicide and stuff with people, I find that one of the most common things among people is like the reason they don't do it. And the reason they don't do it for most people is other people in their life. It's like, you know, yeah, they don't want to hurt their family, or they don't want to, you know, cause that stress or whatever. And so in a situation where you're trying to de-escalate or you're trying to buy time, that's usually a good tool you can go back to. It's like, hey, look, like, you're really gonna do that to me? Like, give me a minute. Like, let's talk this out first before you go doing that. Like, you're fucking me over. Like, make it about you. And then that helps to buy time, at least. And that's not gonna be every situation, of course, but
it's very true. Like, as a temporary thing, like, the same way, like, not hurting yourself or getting sober for somebody else, like, it's a great temporary measure,
right?
But it never sticks unless you do shit for yourself. Like,
they can't go on with that when you're trying to live for you or for someone else. That's not a life worth living. No. Yeah. But if it gets them to a point where then they're more, you know, malleable and they can talk about like what's actually the problem and shit like that. There was a guy, I think it was a guy. There was somebody that was quoted. He attempted suicide jumping off a bridge, and he said in that moment, the thing that he realized as he had, like, while he was in the air, was like all the things that he could change in his life in like a month. Like all the things that were bothering him were things that he could change in like a month. And then he managed to survive, and, you know, and he was thankful for it. But it was like goofy shit like that was like, you know, he needed to burn some bridges and start over. And, yeah.
Man, the guy I'm writing about, trying to write this stupid story. I
need to read some of that, man.
I had it ready when it came up, and I don't know if anxiety didn't or just genuinely forgot. I can't remember, or I don't know. But he had a DNR sign, do not resuscitate, right? Mm-hmm. He overdoses on purpose, suicide attempt. They revive him anyway, right? He wakes up like out of a brief coma, realizes they revived him. He still had heroin on him. So he overdoses again. And he hid some more, like in his shoe or whatever. They broke his DNR twice.
Wow.
Then he overdosed a third time in attempt. And they were able to bring him back. He was like fucked up in the hospital for a long time. And I think that's when he got some of the felony charges for like suicide attempt shit, like for the drugs or whatever. But to me, like there were times in knowing him where he spoke about likely doing it again at some point. And I don't know, like I didn't want him to, but it's one of those things like, I don't know. You got to let people make choices too.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
I hear what you're saying. It's, you know, when you get to, it's like, honestly, I kind of put it in a similar way. Like when you talk about using drugs again, and you're like, if it wasn't such a gamble on what you're getting and, you know, potential of wanting to again. And it's like, I think about that a lot. Like, okay, well, let's not, you know, get into that. You know, but it's like, for me, that's like, that is as far as a stretch for me to like using, you know, harder drugs like that, you know, for some people, like killing themselves might be. It's like, cause I see it that way, and it's probably based off of a lot of opinions I have formed in my own head. But there's also, you know, a lot of realities of like, there's never a good story that started off with, okay, so I started using heroin. We've joked about this before. There's some short memory. There's never long-term stories. Right. Yeah.
100. I agree.
So even when it gets down to that, it's like, well, you know, we'll put that off, you know, like we'll cross that bridge when we come to it kind of thing, where like, delving into it now is not going to be helpful. It's not going to change shit, really.
Mm-hmm.
You can only hope that maybe over time that you can, pull somebody into a position where they're not going to want to hurt themselves.
Yeah, there really is so much of it is time. Like, what, I don't know. Really, I fucking hate time. It's so confusing.
Time's not real. Time's an illusion. There's four corners of time and four corners of every day. Time cube, look it up.
I don't know if it's brain damage or what, but I just don't understand it. But I know what you're saying. I do think there is, for a lot of people, I think, I don't know. It's not just drugs either. There's so much of like, you make the conscious choice of like life, death, care or not care. It's all like, what direction you're headed in. I think for myself, drug stuff, I just have such mixed feelings. I just don't think heroin or heavy drugs is what people think it is. It's just impossible, even to be like unless you're like rich, like actually rich, you will never have a pure supply of a drug that isn't going to kill you at some point.
Right.
That's the thing. I just don't think like addiction's so shitty, but it's more like everything else involved and like the unknown. It's just like it didn't always used to be this way.
Yeah.
It like changed so much. It's just shitty.
And there, I feel like growing up that I did the best I could with what I had, and we talked about I don't know how much we want to get into this into detail, but like when you first told me that you were using, and you told me because you'd heard that, like, I don't know if it was like I had said it out loud in front of you or you heard from someone else me say that like that's like a deal breaker for me growing up, was like people using hard drugs, because I saw how it affected my dad with a lot of his friends.
I kind of remember this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he, it was like they would steal shit from him and stuff. Like he had a business and stuff like years later of like not talking to them really. And like then his van gets broken into, and like knowing that he's got all these tools, like specific tools were taken, like they knew what they were looking for. And it happened multiple times, and he realized these are his friends,
Right. I'm just so fucked that, yeah.
So like I made it a hard rule growing up that like I didn't want to get into that shit. I didn't want to be around people that did.
I remember that.
To the point where I found out later on that other friends were, free base and coke and shit, and like, and it makes sense now, but like I didn't realize it then, as they didn't do it around me, and like until they did, and then I don't talk to them anymore. But you came up to me and were like, "Hey, just so you know, like I wanted to be honest with you about it," and like that was huge. And I just put trust in you that if you're gonna be honest with me about that you're gonna, you'll make it. You'll make it through it. Yeah, you'd been. I'm not sure how much you fucked around with other shit at the time, but I remember thinking that like Steven's got his head on right. He's gonna be fine. And we still kept in contact for a little bit. Probably could have been more contact. But,
yeah.
But that was one I feel like that, having trust in someone that, and you can't apply it to everyone, but like knowing when, like they're not an idiot. Like they might be making stupid decisions or doing things that you don't think are the brightest ideas, but they also have a sense of self-preservation for whatever reason. So, like you weren't trying to, end it all. You were just doing different shit. Yeah. You were
pain relief.
Yeah.
That was like because I definitely saw people around me quickly go to that stage where it's like lie, cheat, steal shit, right?
Yeah.
And I quickly realized the path of less resistance was just to be fully open.
Yeah.
And I never quite understood why more people in similar positions to myself didn't go that route. Like, as long as you don't steal from people and you're like honest, like, hey, look, I'm fucked up. My shit's a mess. I'm trying. I just don't want to feel shitty. And I found something that works for a little while. People don't look at it the same way as like, lying about what you're doing and then like fucking them over.
Right. Yeah.
It's a different battle when you're like honest about what you're going through. It makes it so much fucking easier.
Yeah.
I never got that.
Yeah. I don't, well, I feel like I don't know from my own experience, but I feel like, when you are in that situation to begin with, a lot of the times it's because, and it's similar with like alcohol and stuff too. With addiction of any kind, I would assume that you keep it secret because like you're not even being honest with yourself about it. Like you don't recognize it in yourself that it's a problem or that it's as bad as it is. So
see, I just knew it was a problem right away, and I always wanted to be open because I never wanted to put it on. Like I never offered you dope. I never
right, no.
Right? But anybody that I knew was into shit, like I wanted people to know because I wanted people to be in the misery with me. You know what I mean? Like I didn't want them to be miserable, but it's like I wanted people to like I'll try to get as many people who are in the same boat as me. Like let's just get fucked up and like be in it together, Yeah.
It
sucks going it alone, right? And that's why it was so like such a big change to be like, yo, fuck everybody. Like fuck those, to cut all those people out felt so fucking good. Cause it was like, they didn't give a fuck about me. Like I'm gonna take care of myself, whatever. It felt so fucking good to leave people behind. It's like, it sounds so shitty, but there's so many people, like I wish them well, but I'm so glad to cut people out of my life. I fucking love it. If it was a sport, I'd do it all fucking day. Like
hitting gold medals, boy.
Fuck yeah, man.
I feel like that's gotta be like when you're deep in an addiction like that, where it changes your lifestyle, or the people that you're around.
It's
like
the worst.
You have to do that. I mean, like it's one thing if it's like the porn addiction or like gambling addictions and stuff that like you can do it from like the comfort of your home and you don't have to talk to with like actual people. You can just sit at home and blow all your money.
I gotta ask you about that when you're finished.
Yeah. So like when I feel like when you're in a thing where like you have to like make contact with other people to get drugs, or you have to make contact with other people to like whatever.
Shitty people that make you wait for hours, don't give a fuck what they hand you.
Right.
That. Yeah.
But then like, unless you're willing to cut those people out, like you're keeping them around, like you're just gonna you're gonna fall back into it.
Yeah.
Like
that's why I was saying earlier, I was like, there were times where like, as much as I didn't want to like lose the connect, there were times like, I know this dude will keep getting a hold of me like every day, right? Like I can block them.
Yeah, you're a paycheck.
They got new numbers, whatever. Like until I tell him to go fuck himself or like say something really fucked up, like they're gonna keep finding a way to get a hold of me.
Yeah,
like had to torch it kind of deal.
Yeah. What were you gonna ask me about?
Oh, what do you think about all this Twitch the slot machines and then the like my bookie shit? Like
well, first of all, we mentioned this when you were up here. I mentioned that I was getting nothing but ads for like sports gambling and shit, and you pointed out that like I'm within the age bracket that they're trying to get. Like, I don't give a fuck, number one, about like any professional sports. My favorite professional sport is curling.
You missed some good fights last night, though.
Yeah. But the other one is like, I've never been so excited about a sport that I was willing to put money on it for any reason. Fuck. Like the Derby thing, like even like we would celebrate the like Derby Day at one of the restaurants I worked at, and like they would like talk about it, and there you could hear people doing it, and it's like, it's just fucking stupid. It doesn't give me any draw. And I get there's like an adrenaline rush, you know, with like slot machines and shit like that even. Like, I get it, but like not enough that I'm willing to go into debt. Or, you know, like I get the idea of like go into a casino with like, this is how much I'm willing to lose. Like I'm bringing, you know, $100 that I know I'm not walking out of here with. Like I'm going in here to spend this money. Like I get that.
Yeah.
You know, but it's.
I'm kind of mean it in the, like, I think everything should be fucking legal. Fuck it. I think everybody deserves to make their own choices, but I'm seeing all this like slot machines are like evil as shit, right? Like that's how you rob poor people. Yeah. That's all it is. Like
the VLTs, man. God made the VLTs. If he didn't want us to put money in them, he wouldn't have put them here.
Amen, brother. But like, I'm seeing all these Twitch streamers get paid by like their dark website gambling shit, where the odds are rigged all the time, and like the Twitch streamers, like they get like a cut of the percent. They get paid like X million a month to like just play slots to lose the money. Sometimes they hit real big, and then kids go to these websites based out of the Caribbeans or whatever and gamble money and shit. But like, I don't think any of it should be illegal, but like I'm seeing all these, even on like mainstream sports now, like commercials for MyBookie, like gambling. It's just so scummy. I don't think
pushing
it's
it real hard.
Yeah, like I don't think they shouldn't be allowed. I just think it's scummy as fuck. And there's all these like legitimate people in entertainment of one way or another that are like pushing it, and it just feels so fucking gross. Like
one of my favorite ads for gambling is for sports betting and shit like that is it's got Jamie Foxx, and he comes out in a suit, and there's like water feature in the back and shit, and it's like makes it look like it's luxurious. It's like you're logging onto a website and you're giving us your money,
right? Yeah, it's not that great of a experience.
And there's other ones where they're like, well, we'll front you up to like $100 or something. And it's like, okay, so how much do they think that they're going to get out of you if they're going to front you $100? Right.
Fuck
like, how much do they plan on actually raking you out of? Like it's the shit that makes me think like, okay, these people have too much money. They're just giving it away. To like not even like giving it away to someone that like helps people. You're just giving it away for the thrill of giving it away.
All right, I have a jump to make.
Yeah.
Before I know we're gonna get to our conclusion soon, but so I think gambling is scummy as fuck. Like for the people running it. I think if it's something you enjoy,
I get the adrenaline rush involved. Yeah.
It's an addiction for a lot of people, but a lot of people it's just good casual fun. Do your thing, right? But the people profiting from it, I think it's scummy.
Yeah.
So like, I still think those people deserve to make that choice, right?
Right.
So like, they lose their money, that's on them. Like they made an agreement, right? What do you think about like college loan forgiveness? Because I feel like there's, so many people who want it. Like, I would love everyone's college loans to be forgiven, right? Like, that sounds fucking excellent. And if we can figure out a way to do it, awesome. And I know a lot of people have to make those choices out of, like, desperation. And that's, like, so fucking unfair and shitty. But I also, part of me, I'm not decided, but part of me feels like, hey, you made that decision. Like you signed, this was a contract you agreed to.
Right.
You have to be a fucking person of your word too. Like if there is a way that we can make it all better for everyone, then that's different. But I don't know. It's like out of all the list of like major fucking issues going on, to me that always goes more towards the bottom because it's something people agreed to and they weren't coerced. Like there were other choices, even though it's not always fair. I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I feel like I think there's still some scuzziness on the part of the college themselves, because so, if you go looking for jobs anymore, also depending on what field you go looking in, a lot of the times, if you want to make anything more than minimum wage, you need, a degree of some type.
But you are proof against that, right? Because
right. But also I have a trade. I work in a trade.
That's my point, though.
Yeah.
Is no one wants to get their hands dirty. Like, all these people that went and flunked out of college and racked up these loans, like, the rate of people, like, college has gotten more expensive, but not by as much as people think. And as shitty as it is, most people that graduate eventually get jobs that make them more over their lifetime than they would have if they didn't go. Like, there's so many problems with it still, but in generalities, that's typically how it goes. But in the meantime, there's very smart people, such as yourself, that end up going to a trade school or different other options. They carve their own route and, like, are willing to work hard and get their hands dirty, while most fucking kids are not ready to make that choice at 18 and just fuck up in college because there's so much pressure on them to do so, which I think is fucked up, but it's like they still made choices, right?
I'm all for the plan of get out of high school, go straight to work for at least a couple years, if not 5 or 6, and then decide if there's something that you want to do, then go to college for it.
That's right.
That you need to go to college or you need a further education for, then do it. That work experience so much changes just who you are as a person. Your own, it fixes your own, or it helps you to understand your own workload capacity, like what you can manage. You can surprise yourself by like, oh wow, I perform better in this than I thought I would, or realize like, oh, maybe this isn't for me. Why isn't this for me? Is it because of the work itself, or is it because of,
a problem I have?
Yeah, exactly. So, and
something I need to learn.
There's always jobs and trades, and you don't need education. You don't need, post high school, or even in some points, you don't need high school, equivalent to join. Especially the true in the culinary industry. You don't need shit.
Yeah.
You can come in and barely know how to read, and motherfuckers will teach you what you need to know.
As long as you got the skills and you work hard and you learn.
Yeah. It's trades, you get out of it what you put into it. If you try hard, you're going to learn something, even if you're just learning like, okay, well, what I'm learning is this isn't for me.
Right. At SCPA, I was one of 2 people of our senior class not to go straight to college. So at the graduation, when they read the list of everybody graduating where they're going, it's like, so, I mean, at the time I was like so full of hatred. I was like, it was awesome, but like it's so like alienating for it to be looked at. I don't know, at 17, 18, I don't think most kids are ready to make a decision of what they're going to do with the rest of their life.
Yeah.
Like,
and that being said, I don't think it's the whole like, well, I'm going to take a year off and travel. It's like,
that's garbage, isn't it?
Work first. Find something first. Go
travel to that fucking job.
Yeah, get a background in work first, and then
do drugs for a couple years. Burn out till you get so miserable that you'll go to school.
Till you get arrested, and then you got to go to rehab, and then this is forming a foundation for the rest of your life.
The Dr. Stephen path. 7 steps.
Step 1, burn all your bridges.
Burn all bridges.
Yeah, I really do. I think definitely, it's not to downplay, how healthy it is to travel. I think everyone should leave your comfort zone at least once, even if it's just go, a few states over. Start with that.
So I will say, fucking love visiting you in Detroit, right?
Yeah.
I really can't see myself living anywhere except Cincinnati for my lifetime, though.
Really?
I just have always kind of felt that way. I just like I have cradle to grave on my wrist. Like I feel like I'm just meant to die here. Like I'm a Cincinnati.
Sad.
I'm a chili cheese dog through and through. There's nothing in me but grade B Cincinnati meat and cheese.
When I die, bury me with conies.
Sriracha and an extra bag of cheese.
Extra bag of cheese. Oh God.
You always got to get the extra bag of cheese. You put the whole bag of cheese on. You put the crackers. You got your extra bag on the side. You cover it all in sriracha, and as you eat, you peel from the extra cheese bag and refill. You reload your cheese supply. If the cheese mountain becomes a cheese hill, you're fucked.
My niece actually taught me that when I was there. That's what they did. They get extra crackers, extra cheese, and they just get the regular hot sauce.
That's why they're so cool, though.
Yeah.
That's a perfect example.
Yeah, smart kids.
Fuck yeah.
We did actually. We buried my grandma with a grilled cheese.
No way.
Because she would ask for it. You know, when we were, it was our favorite lunch. We were like,
That's
what do you want? Like, you want grilled cheese? Like, oh yeah. We make it for her, and she'd eat it, and she'd say, when I die, you bury me with a grilled cheese. And it was like a funny joke. And then the day of the funeral, me and my dad were running behind because we showed up a little bit later than everyone else because we made her a grilled cheese, put it in a bag, and there's the box above the thing where you can put like mementos and stuff, and there's little crucifixes and stuff, and then there's a fucking bag with the grilled cheese in it.
That's so cool. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh man, my grandpa that was in Price Hill, so he grew up like abject poverty. He was in a full-blooded Lebanese household. They had no fucking money. His dad did not sound like that nice of a person. He was a big Lebanese man that they called Bear. Somebody told me that. I don't know if it's actually true. But he like literally in the winter walked to school with cardboard for shoes. Like they would tape cardboard to their feet for shoes. Damn. Like super poor, had like nothing type shit growing up. And he became a judge, worked for the feds, and like made a fortune. He loved art, very cool art collection stuff. So like, and he was always super humble. And his whole thing was like to feel uncomfortable intentionally. So I didn't know this about him till the funeral. But at the funeral, they had these big bowls of like, they were a special type of stone, but it was like these just like fancy little stones, right? Like little pebbles. And they said before the funeral to put it in your shoe. So everyone at this funeral had a little uncomfortable sharp pebble in their shoe. Because apparently, I don't know if he actually did it every day, but that's what they said about him in the like homily or reflection, whatever, that every day before he went to work, he put a pebble in his shoe to remind him like how shitty things can be.
What he came from, huh?
Yeah, like that's some like pretty hardcore rag to riches reminder kind of shit.
Yeah, it is.
But I really respected that. I mean, even if it was just the idea or whatever, but he watched his whole family, it didn't, I'm the grandchild, so it's not like I directly profited from that, but him becoming rich, like it enriched his whole family's lives. Yeah. Like he could take us on trips after he died. His kids, they were all successful. They, were given substantial amounts of money. Like he watched everyone thrive. And I think in his point of view, he often was kind of like bitter, not like angry bitter, but just like a little bitter that they could like had things easy.
Yeah.
Because of his success. Mm-hmm. And I think he always just wanted to remind the family members that, especially the younger family members. I always really liked that. The grilled cheese, that's fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, that was a sweet sentiment. Yeah, How do we even get to that?
We got really far from bridges, but I like I like where we went.
The grilled cheese wasn't burnt, I'll tell you that.
We burnt the bridges and we built a new path.
Yeah.
We got some weird jungle full of grilled cheese and rocks.
Oh yeah. So we were talking about travel. That's what it was before that. Because I went after you left, my mom was like, "So, well," she said, "So when are they moving up here?"
Oh,
and I was like,
I feel bad. I didn't give her a hug.
She felt the same. She told me before we went out for breakfast or lunch. She told me just in case she didn't see you again, say goodbye. So,
oh, so sweet. I'm just awkward sometimes.
Yeah, the exact same way. Especially with my friends' parents, that's always a weird, tricky. Awkward kind of.
Yeah.
Like I said, I definitely think everyone should travel a little bit. You learn more about yourself that way. But I don't know, just stick.
Find a little piece.
Learn about yourself first before you start stretching yourself out to other people and relying on that. Be your own bridge. Make people want to build a bridge to you, not the other way around.
Attraction, not promotion.
Yeah,
as AA would say. That's the truth, though, man. You gotta make your island thrive so much that people want to build with you.
Yeah.
You can't go island to island promoting your shitty island.
Yeah. And even as far as like, I absolutely have bridges with people that I keep because I can see it being beneficial to me. But I won't keep that if I disagree with that person or, what they stand for or something. Like, when I say it, I mean like, people I know that work for like Cisco or like different food reps or like, people like other chefs at other, workplaces. Like, I'm not going to go ask them for a job. I might one day maybe, but like, I'm keeping them around to use for reference. Also they're good people. If they weren't good people and I didn't like them, there are tons of chefs that are and people in my industry that I could have contact with and use like that, but I don't like them. I don't like what they stand for. I think they're dicks or, I think their food sucks. So I'm not going to use them as a reference, So I feel like it's not so much to burn that bridge with them, but like if push came to shove and, fucking, like whenever people talk about there's a chef in the area, I'm not going to name names and give business, but like dude's an asshole. Food's great, but he's an asshole. Then like, yeah, I'll go to his restaurant. He's got a few of them up here and the food's good, but I'm not going to go out of my way for it. And like, I've worked with him a few times enough that I know that like I could get a job with him easily if I wanted to. But fuck that guy. Like, I'm not going to go out of my way to burn the bridge, but when people talk about him and, whatever about his places, I'm just going to slip in there, like, oh, that guy's a dick, That's
a perfect example of the dignity factor. You're not building on a shit foundation of wet sand or a swamp, You want to build with people that uplift you as well.
Not hanging on someone else's ball bag because they have a name.
No, fuck no.
Definitely don't do that to yourself.
What do we got to wrap up here with?
I think we've been recording for a minute. I think we're good to work our way on out of here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Let's do it. I guess I'll do it.
It's you. Yeah.
I was just going to deflect it on you real quick. There's no reason for you to stride across the landscape of burning bridges everywhere you go. But there are times when a bridge must go and your gut tells you when those times arrive. Sometimes the alternative to burning a bridge is just to slip away quietly. And that often is the best option. It's a reverse Costanza.
Yeah. Yeah. And I agree with that. That's usually what I end up doing. Because it's not so much that I'm burning the bridge. I'm just not utilizing it anymore.
Yeah, let it decay on its own.
Sometimes it's nice to have those bridges around so that it leaves an open window for that party to see like, oh, now they're thriving. and then they reach back out to you. They try to cross over, like, let me get a little piece of that. And then you can say, nah, I'm good.
They're almost like, it's not a bridge. It's a hollow organ of like a tube organ. Like it's alive. Like you grow your little alien tube organ.
Just a flesh tube.
Yeah, and every once in a while you pump blood into it to keep it alive before it dies.
In other situations, you feel honor bound to take a stand, even if doing so will damage or destroy a relationship, possibly forever. Do you care if there are people walking around on this planet that don't like you? Like, you shouldn't. You just shouldn't. Like, people are going to dislike you, regardless of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Just if by thriving and by, making the choices you need to make to build up yourself and the people that you care about, if by doing that you're hurting someone else's opinion of you, fuck that person.
Yeah. Once you let yourself like grow, you nurture yourself enough, you become like just giant enough that other people don't hurt you the same way.
Yeah.
And the more your confidence grows and the bigger your flame get, the more people that will resent and dislike you anyway, whether you want them to or not. That's definitely a thing sometimes. Yeah. You will make enemies just by being yourself. Listen to your trusty gut and take the rule, never burning bridges, with a grain of salt. Sometimes burning a bridge is the healthiest thing you can do.
It's true, and it's the way. It's the way of like I mentioned earlier with my boss, like when he's learning he needs to put his foot down on certain things, or like whether it was just like people are using they're making too much stuff for themselves and taking it home on the weekends, and it's like he wants to offer that people feel open to like to feed yourself. Obviously, we work in a restaurant. There's no reason you should go hungry. Or, like take something home to your family or something like that. But then people are leaving with like eight or nine things. And it's like, dude, you can't do that. Like, that's fucked up.
Feed the whole block. Yeah.
And it's like, when you worry about putting your foot down on that, and it's like, you can't do that, because anyone that gets upset that you're putting your foot down on, like, hey, you're just stealing product at this point. Like, anyone that gets upset at that, they weren't for you in the first place. Fuck that person. Get rid of them.
Yeah.
They don't need to be working here. They're definitely not your friend. If you're saying like, hey, for my business to succeed, we have to put a cap on this, and then they continue to do it, like they don't want your business to succeed. They're not your friend.
Fuck them. Cut the cancer out.
Right.
Well, real quick before we close, we got this song. We're going to play RZN, Risen by Chaotic Steel. Check them out on Instagram at KAOTIC, Chaotic Steel, and we'll share his links. And then think we're good.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be playing Risen, RZN for every Easter now, because every year my aunt texts me or calls me and says he's risen.
Dude,
and that's gonna be my new.
It's the perfect song to burn a bridge to.
It really is. It's fucking dope. So thanks again, everyone, for listening. Thank you to Approaching Human for the use of his music. You can find his work on SoundCloud at Approaching-Human.
Thanks, John. Real quick, he's got the song we're featuring next weekend. Did we listen to it yet?
No.
Oh my god, dude!
I'm fucking pumped.
I don't want to give it away too much, but it's a Christmas song in Trash Wave that goes hard as fuck. So we're gonna play that for our next episode. It's hilarious and brutal as fuck.
I can't wait to play that at my family Christmas party.
Fuck yeah.
Make sure to check out the show page at Trashcats Trashcast on Instagram for news and art from the show. Make sure you check out Facebook for the memes.
If you're bored, you can check out my trashy art on Instagram at SkyZXSkyZXX. It has been slow on there, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm really trying to work on stuff, so something will be up there soon. Shouts out to the people we feature in this episode. Ragged Raven Forge. Check them out on Instagram for some awesome home forge stuff. Very cool. Check them out. And Chaotic Steel, and shouts out to the Hive Mind, guys.
Right.
We'll play some more of them soon. Tune in next Wednesday, for an episode on The Greatest Lie Ever Told. we're going to go deep in and expose these liars.
It's going to be some real shit. Everyone's been exposed to the big lie. And
Yeah,
we're gonna,
you just don't know it. We're gonna speak truth to power.
Yeah. We're gonna have a real come to Jesus here.
Fuck yeah.
That's gonna be all for us today. Stay classy, eat trashy.
Go fast, eat trash.
Let's go.
Tranquilo. Yeah.
Can I see my face now? Yo, what the fuck is in this shit? Don't ask, don't tell. Can you hear the sound? Wicked noises in this bitch. 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 2 times for those who ain't catch it. 2 times. Modern youth is in this hoe. When I start rocking, you won't match it. Arsonist, get all the girls. I intend to burn these bridges that meant to harm my inner peace. To the ashes, I'll forgive it. Please, Father, don't let me forget. Need to feel, make them regret. For the lies that least to spread behind the backs of their own bed. Weight of the world feel like a boulder. In the south, need the heat when the soul gets colder. Chaotic, still question, dude. What the hell you vulgar? The truth hurts, don't it? Before you get lost in the moment, need to get that dirt off my shoulder, cause I've been 6 feet under with roses. I need to get that dirt off my shoulder, cause I've been 6 feet under, getting eaten by rodents. Need God. Bow down to the motherfucking greatest. This for anyone wondering where the king of the grave went. Home, sweet home, had to follow the moss. She eats bones, that's a hell of a floss. Off with her heads, they're not dead. That's a hell of a trinket. I wanna be what I dream, so I'm always thinking. People say I think too much, I don't think they think enough. Spending time on some wasted stuff, got their mind fucked up, they numb. They've become so numb, they can't hear them think. I belong to none, all of this is fake. Can't believe I broke out of my coffin just to witness this. Suspects with no mask, say they ask, they name the witnesses. Get dirt off my shoulder, cause I've been 6 feet under with roses. I need to get dirt off my shoulder, cause I've been 6 feet under, getting eaten by rodents. Need God. One take.